Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining with us today in the webinar on intelligent HCP segmentation with Databricks. We at Focal CXM are very passionate about life sciences industry, and today we are talking about one of the complex solutions uh, which causes or impacts the way in which the HCPs will be dealt by the sales reps. Here, joining us today are two presenters, Adi Buddhavarapu and Bhagavi Panchamati. Adi is having more than 2 decades of experience in life sciences and CRM industry. He specializes in consulting life sciences companies for better business outcomes. Bhargavi is a senior technical lead, and she specializes in delivering AI-based solutions for life sciences companies. Having said this, again, welcome all of you for this exciting session. Over to you, Adi.
Thanks, Renee. Welcome, everyone. So, very quickly, what we want to do, what we want to cover today is very briefly talk about what we do at Focal. Srini gave an overview, but I just want to double click on that. And then briefly comment on where the industry is with respect to Salesforce and Vault CRM. Then we will get into the details of what we mean by the HCP segmentation, what the solution would look like. After that, we'll be happy to take a few questions, and that's about it. So let's get going. Next slide. To give you a brief idea of what we do at Focal, we are fundamentally a customer experience engineering company. We are passionate about leveraging technology to achieve business outcomes, specifically in the commercial space, using CRM, data, and AI. Next slide. We are a Databricks partner, and we've been delivering a number of solutions across multiple industries. But in today's context, we want to focus specifically around life sciences, commercial, and how we intend to solve the segmentation challenge given that there is Databricks and what's happening in the industry. Next slide. While we are trying to get to a one-on-one, one-to-one segments, basically a segment of size 1, ideally, we are trying to find out how we can create those micro clusters so that we can specifically target and solve customer problems, meet them where they are and meet their needs. And for that to happen, we need to be able to understand what their real needs are, be able to segment them using the right mechanism so that we can deliver the right content or engage them properly. Next slide. The segmentation in general, every company does it differently, and there are various ways to really segment customers. Here we are just using as an example McKinsey's the archetypes that they define. Of course, each company could have its own way of segmenting, and there are various frameworks for it. But just as an example here, when we want to classify HCPs, they could be the independents. The independents are those folks who are essentially, they don't want to meet anyone, they don't want to rely on anyone for the decisions, but they want to be able to independently do their own homework, figure out what needs to happen, how they want to service their patients, and what is good for their patients. So classifying HCPs as independents is one way. Transactional, looking at pricing, looking at the outcomes, they're very clear in what they want to accomplish, so there could be a transactional segment. And then knowledge seekers are those HCPs who are typically going after content, scientific content, papers. They're always trying to be on top of everything that's happening in the industry in their specific therapeutic area. So this is one type. And lastly, the relationship seekers, who are more of the traditional HCP types. While the numbers are dwindling in this particular segment, it's still important to be able to understand these segments. Again, this is only one way of classifying one way of creating the segments, but there could be many other ways, and each company could have its own way of solving this problem. Next slide. So folks in the commercial know that most often folks are going into either Vault CRM from their existing Viva. There is IQVIA and there are a couple of other players, but predominantly the market is all going into either Vault CRM or the Salesforce Life Sciences Cloud. From a CRM perspective, from an engagement perspective, all that is great. But then when we have all these data points and when we want to do and solve problems like segmentation, what is the best way to do it, right? So there could be some tools that Salesforce or Vault could offer, Vault CRM could offer, but then what we believe is while those are great for system of engagement and for the internal stakeholders to use, we can do HCP segmentation, or it could be patient segmentation. Here we are only taking HCP as an example. We can do that in a better way by leveraging platforms which are really built for data and AI. Next slide, please. In this slide, this is an example of what are the various elements that could be used. So when we want to segment HCPs, it could be on various parameters, right? The basic persona information that sits typically in a CRM system, and then the data could be distributed across multiple systems. Maybe they go to a website and we want to be able to capture their behavior based on the number of clicks. What are they doing? What are the HCPs navigating towards? And we want to be able to capture all that intelligence from multiple systems and then aggregate that and be able to really understand which segments do they fall into if there's a logical way to segment them. And this is just an example of the typical parameters that we see from a segmentation standpoint. Next slide. So there are various ways by which we can actually solve the problem. And we think that, like I briefly mentioned earlier, there are out-of-the-box rules, and there are ways to solve it within the Salesforce ecosystem or potentially within the Vault ecosystem. But then when we want to really aggregate these data sets from multiple systems and do some analytics and insights and ML and segmentation, we think that predominantly, these are not the only options, but predominantly platforms such as Databricks, which is purpose built for data and AI, is one way. We can use the AWS ecosystem or even Snowflake. And from the customers that we've been working with, we see that Databricks is a very common pattern. Similarly, Snowflake as well for the data lakes and how they are actually aggregating all the information from various sources. So in this particular webinar, what we want to be able to do is, from a technical perspective, again, the segmentation, you could have your own way of segmenting, but what we want to be able to show is how does that pattern look like between Databricks and, as an example, Salesforce Life Sciences Cloud, right? Because the patterns are getting better each day, the integration patterns, and the effort is really going lower and lower to be able to ingest all these data sets. It's because there are out-of-the-box adapters and there are patterns such as zero copy coming up. So how do we leverage that? Today, we'll be showing something which is specific to Life Sciences Cloud and Databricks. But the same thing is extensible to the Viva platform as well. If customers are on Vault CRM, if they chose that route to get into the Vault CRM, then Vault already has an out-of-the-box connector through the Apache Iceberg to be able to bring in all the data sets from the Vault CRM periodically into the Apache Iceberg, and then we can connect it with Databricks or Snowflake, right? So this is only to illustrate the pattern, and Bhargavi will be walking you through what that looks like, but we can extend it to either the Life Sciences Cloud or Vault CRM and achieve very similar results And it's very exciting because these integration patterns between the CRM ecosystems and platforms like Databricks and Snowflake, they solve very interesting problems. And this is one of the best times to be in, especially from a Databricks ecosystem perspective. How do we leverage agentic AI? How do we leverage the infrastructure within the Databricks ecosystem to solve these complex challenges? Next slide. With that, I'll request Bhargavi, who is technical lead, to kind of walk you through a high level architecture of what she intends to show between the Salesforce Life Sciences Cloud and Databricks. So over to you, Bhargavi. If you can walk the folks through this architecture diagram and into the demo, that'll be appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you, Adi. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for taking time and joining with us today. So, let me walk you through the architecture diagram. In the as we all know, the HCP profile information scattered across multiple data sources. So, as we mentioned here, from CRM to third-party sources and databases are part of those data sources. So we are leveraging Databricks out of the box connector to get the information into Databricks as it is following the medallion architecture. We were transforming the data from bronze to silver and then gold. So in our case, we indexed Salesforce Life Sciences data into our Databricks platform, and the data right after sits in the bronze layer in its original form. And then we are applying validations, cleaning the data, and do some transformations, and we are pushing it into the silver layer. And in that layer, we are again applying some business customizations, business specific rules, and we are transforming the information into a unified HCP 360 view data into a single table in gold layer. And from there, we are consuming that information for segmentation. And for this segmentation, we are leveraging k-means algorithm, which is simple at it can deal unstandardized data, and it can scale up to large data sets. And in k-means clustering, how we are implemented that ML model and what are the stages which were important while doing this segmentation process, and how we are doing it, I will show you in a quick demo. And once we derive or we group the HCPs into different segments and we define them with certain definition, so we can leverage that information for further actions. So we can store or push back the same information to the CRM systems, where can users access the information in one place for further details. And we can even leverage that information to create the dashboards according to the different business teams. So let me quick you walk through the demo. Let me share my screen. So this is the out of the box connector where we created pipelines using Salesforce connector, and we indexed all the required
May
information.
Bhargavi, sorry, you may have to share your screen.
Is my screen visible, Adi?
Yep.
So in Databricks, we created the pipeline with help of our Salesforce connector, and we ingested all the information into Databricks. And then we do some cleanings and all, and we transform the data from bronze to silver and then gold. So out of that data, we do the segmentation process. And for this segmentation, out of n number of features, we would like to remove the noisy features and we would like to go with the specific features for better segmentation and clustering. So we leveraged four features of HCP, which is prescription related information, KOL influence related information, engagement related information, and the specialty information. So initially, we need to install few libraries for better visualization and ML processing. And then we need to load the goal table data, what we fine tuned. And then we are on top of that data, we are doing scaling. Scaling is mandatory for better clustering, and we are using min-max scaling here so that every feature treated equally irrespective of their value ranges. And then we are defining the k value. So let's say without defining the k value with proper factors, it may lead into under valued segmentation, or it may lead us to the bad segmentation. So to define that k value, here we are leveraging a couple of techniques: elbow method and silhouette score. So in elbow method, the inertia value decreases when the number of cluster value k value increases. So for better k value definition, we need to lower the inertia score. So on that inertia score as well, we need to consider the slight curve method where it mostly represents the elbow. And along with that elbow method, we need to consider the silhouette score as well. So silhouette score defines the data points which were centered close to the centroid. Let's say we are taking a four-dimensional representation. So we took each centroid, and whatever the data points close to the centroid, we'll group them as a all the data points into one cluster. So if we say that if the silhouette score is close to 1, then it is a very good um, clustering. And if it is 0.5, we can say it's okay. And if it is 0, it's not a good clustering. If it is minus value, then it is definitely a bad clustering. We haven't go for that k value. So with the combination of these two parameters, we define k value by running from 0 to 7. We'll identify the right k value. And after deriving the right number of k value, and we do the segmentation, and it will assign the HCPs into one group and assigns a cluster number. And then we have to apply the profiling where it automatically, k-means automatically suggests a proper definition by understanding the characteristics of the grouped HCPs. We can always change the default ones which was suggested by k-means. Again, for our k-value definition, we got 5, and these are the default definitions we got it. And for each and every definitions, these are the count of HCPs grouped under. This is the representation for all the HCPs available. 194 out of 400 plus is a key opinion leader, and 125 are loyal prescribers. Growth potential, where the HCP having lower engagement, and high value prescriber. So this is again dimensional segmentation profile explanation. If you see here, all the features what we considered for the segmentation are listed here, and these are the cluster definitions. So the higher the value, the better the score. So the when we are considering prescription, the lowest value is 65.9, which was mentioned in the red color. Likewise, the higher value is mentioned in the green ones. So for each and every feature, we are representing it in a colored pattern. This is the 2D space. These are all the data points which indicates each and every HCP, and all the colors represent the different clusters. This is a radar representation of the same clustering. It is a four-dimensional view, and if you observe all the in four dimensions, the four different features what we are considering is there. The closer the value, then the lower the score, and if it is meeting the outer circle, then the percentage or the score is higher for that specific feature. And this is not representing a single HCP, it's a collective group of HCPs which will fall under the one cluster. And for each and every feature what we considered, this is the key metric for specific feature. If you look at the representation, these are the total prescriptions he had done for last 6 months. These are the segmented definitions, and these are the count of the total prescriptions for that specific grouped HCPs collectively achieved. Here the interesting part, like engagement count. So the engagement count is very low. That's the reason these HCPs are fall under low engagement. Again, the growth potential also representing the lower value. But when it's come to here, the visit count and the prescriptions. The prescriptions are the prescription rate of this specific group of HCPs are high, but the engagement is not proper. That's the reason it fall under growth potential. So these are the potential HCPs where we need to focus, and we need to turn them into the valued prescribers. So likewise, we can understand better, and we can take the next best actions better by observing these metrics. Again, this visual representation represents the KOL score. So if he is a key opinion leader and his score is very high, the bubble size is bigger. If the score is low, then the bubble size is low. For last 6 months, how the score is improved for each and every segment of HCPs, that was represented here. This is the prescription over the key opinion leader influence factor. And then we are writing back the results, the segment results and the profiling results back to the CRM, so that it can be verified, leveraged by the respective teams. And as part of the process, once this information is going back to the CRM, again it is getting trained again, and it's like a cycle process. And The over the period, the profiles are getting improved and help representatives and medical reps and marketing teams to take the necessary strategies against the HCPs. So, in our Salesforce, for each and every HCP, whatever the segment definitions we are deriving, what was the behavioral score, what was the total transactions, and the new transactions versus total transactions ratio. Lastly, when the rep met the HCP, how many days it was. Everything we are storing back so that the rep can leverage this information for next actions. Over to you, Adi.
And the intent here, we are just showing you an example of what can be done, right? This is not what it has to be. It doesn't have to be the rep who is leveraging this information. It could be the system of knowledge. Once we are able to segment the HCPs the way we want to, then it's pretty much nowadays with the agentic AI, how can agents leverage this information? What can we do? How do we automate those workflows which impact the overall customer experience? Right, so there's a tremendous opportunity, and the intent of this exercise is to kind of walk you through the possibility. We don't need multiple systems. The pattern is able to, with the integration pattern, we are able to ingest the data. We are able to implement the complete segmentation execution in Databricks platform. So we don't have to go to multiple systems where your segmentation data is in one system, your HCP data is in another system, but use Databricks as a centralized platform for all your ML and AI needs, and then push the data back into the system of engagement, or let the agentic AI take care of whatever the next best action is. Or it could be using this segmentation information for territory management or better engagement, right? There are multiple scenarios. If we are able to get the segmentation right, then we can absolutely leverage that information in very useful ways so that we can actually eliminate the noise from an HCP's perspective and address their need if we understand them better. Next slide, please. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And while you answer or while you post any questions, we also want to call out that you're more than welcome. We are excited about this. We are excited about implementing Databricks and integrating Databricks with either your Life Sciences Cloud or your Vault CRM. And we would love to do a free pilot for you guys within your environments if you're interested. Because most majority of the customers that we are noticing, they already have these pillars in place. Obviously the CRM platform, either the Vault or Life Sciences Cloud. And from a data perspective, most often we see, at least the ones that we work with, have Databricks, and that bringing them together will be a very beautiful story to solve some of the most common and complex challenges in the industry.
Yeah, thank you, Bhargavi and Adi, for a very insightful session. We got a few questions here. I'll start shooting questions at you. First question is, many life sciences organizations are using Viva Vault CRM today. Can this intelligent HCP segmentation approach be implemented with Viva Vault CRM? And how would that be different from implementing in Databricks?
In Databricks, you mean? So
Sorry, Databricks.
So it's primarily the same pattern, right? So when even if you're on Vault CRM, like I said briefly earlier, Vault CRM has a pre-built adapter, or they are giving an integration pattern with Databricks through Apache Iceberg. So through that pattern, pretty much the vault data, the vault CRM data, is being replicated on a timely basis into the iceberg. And from there, we can bring that information into Databricks. So today, Bhargavi quickly flashed the Life Sciences Cloud to show how data can be integrated, but the same pattern can be absolutely applicable. So, in a sense, there isn't as much of a difference whether it is whatever the CRM system is. So it's absolutely doable, Srini.
Thank you. Next question we have is, how frequently should HCP segments be refreshed? Can Databricks and machine learning support near real-time changes based on new engagement or prescribing data?
I'll take this question. So yes, we can do the real-time segmentation with the Databricks. According to the business requirement, we can schedule it, or we can, whenever the data is updated in the Salesforce, at that time we can get it back from the Salesforce to Databricks, and we can do the same process with the new information, and we can again update it back to the Salesforce in a real time.
Yeah. Thanks, Bhargav. One last question. Can AI-generated recommendations be surfaced directly within Salesforce Life Sciences Cloud or Vault CRM so sales reps can take action without switching systems?
Yes, as we demoed in today's session, once we are defining the segmentations of the HCPs or the profiling information, enriched profiling information, yes, we can send it back to the respective CRM system so that reps or other personas can definitely leverage that information in the CRM itself. They no need to switch between Databricks and Salesforce for such information.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all we have as questions for today. Thank you all. Thanks for joining with us for this wonderful webinar. Thank you, Adi, and thanks, Bhargav. Have a
Thank you
great
all.
day.
Thank you, guys.